Let's start first with this news coming out of the FCC. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler saying he will propose utility-style rules. Utility-style rules. I know that makes me nervous, too, for the Internet. He says the agency would not seek to regulate pricing and would seek to modernize rules to encourage investment and competition. But again, utility-style rules, that kind of strikes me as regulation.
Hold on a second. The backdrop to this is a lot of states want to make the Internet available to everybody and quick to everybody. Why should some people have to do, the dial-up where they hear and other people be getting, massive broadband, quick streaming Internet?
You have to pay for it. Well, and if you're not going to pay for it, then maybe you don't get those luxuries.
And that's where in this newest statement from Wheeler, I mean, nothing's really new in this. We all kind of knew this was coming. But what he's really saying is, okay, I won't let you slow down for consumers. I won't let you interfere what customers are watching. But I will be standing over the shoulder of Comcast, even if they hike the prices. So there is some nuance here, which is why you saw the stock jump. And there is a little bit of that getting that market out to everyone. But
right. I mean, it is a double-edged sword. You do want the private companies to have enough money to develop new technologies that can benefit everybody. You don't want to stymie progress. You don't want to stymie sort of the capitalistic spirit of our nation. Yes. But you do want to give people who don't have the money to access the Internet at least a level playing field so that they can get into the modern technological world.
Here's the problem. Those companies aren't going to want to go and build that infrastructure in markets where they can't get people to pay. And to Matt's point, I mean, you want to continue rewarding innovation, and part of that means having a market-driven system.
Or we could just drop a list of stuff that we want to give everybody for free. Because I bet you that list would get damn long, And when you start at super fast broadband Internet, I mean, I pay how much? $120?
I don't think I'm going to fight this fight.
All right. Let's move on to an interesting story coming out of Colorado. It's reportedly collecting an estimated $50 million in taxes from the sale of recreational marijuana.
Speaking of stuff people should have for free.
That's according to MIC.com, and the website says this means Colorado taxpayers may soon get a payout because the state's constitution limits how much the Treasury can bring in before returning some to residents. So, well, they may not be getting free pot, but they may be getting a little bit of a kickback.
Lisa, why don't we give everybody the same access to super dank OG Kush, I mean, why should some people be smoking Mexican brown when other people are getting, like, the super sativa indica? Oh, those are two different things, but, I mean, it's an interesting story.
So to talk about this story, what I think is interesting about this is that not only is marijuana saving the state of Colorado a lot of money in policing the activities of people who are smoking weed and getting whatever the name is.
High.
Yeah. Or, you're actually getting money from both the tax revenues and they're saving money, but they're getting more money than they could have even dreamed. But revenues are going to be...
Well, they're getting it now, right? But what happens if Utah or some other neighboring state says, we're gonna go ahead and be okay with this as well? At that point, then it becomes more and more of a commodity, I guess, and some of that tax revenue could be affected.
Oh, that would cause competition. And then you'd get a better product. Yeah. And then everybody would have good weed, Are you
going to tell Tom Wheeler that?
I'm not sure he was thinking about this when he was thinking about net neutrality, but you might have to smoke a little pot to wrap your head around net neutrality.
True. Alibaba making its first trial drone deliveries in China. All the while, Amazon is struggling to start a similar program in the U.S. Amazon is being forced to test its drones overseas until the FAA gives the company a green light at home. So is Alibaba going to get ahead of us when it comes to drones?
China getting ahead of the U.S., right?
Yeah, that's ahead of us with ginger tea packets to 450 customers in China.
Yes, and you have to think that Amazon is seething because they have not been able to get this going here. And this was kind of their, hyperbole of an idea of what delivery should be.
I mean, American capitalists should be seething because here you have a communist country deregulating enough to allow innovation and allow serious R&D, whereas here we're worried about, I don't know, like a drone hitting somebody.
About like someone actually doing something terroristic.
I was going to bring my drone. I should have brought my drone on set. I was just flying it on the set.
He's got this little, helicopter. He's been flying all over the newsroom.
Very safe, and if you make a mistake, you have to pay for it. I mean, I'm not seriously concerned about drones striking me dead in Bronxville. I would welcome Amazon or FedEx or UPS or anybody trying to test out new technologies and deliver stuff to me in better, faster ways, in a more cost-efficient way.
They still need a delivery man, though. With Alibaba's testing, they're still going to have a delivery man receive it and catch the little tea package
like
and walk it to your door.
Yeah.
Basically.
So your doorman will do that for you.
Maybe one day. We'll see. If the FAA can
all
get
right.
on this
Is this our last story? We're talking about contraceptives, the high cost of contraceptives right now. Venezuelans who already must line up for hours to buy basic products in short supply are facing a new issue here. Condoms are hard to find and nearly impossible to afford. On one Venezuelan auction website, a 36-pack of Trojans is selling for $755. Wow.
This just sort of emphasizes how much pain is being felt in Venezuela right now. Oil prices are going down. The value of their, purchasing power is just, going down. We're right with it. I mean, oil is the main driver of their revenues, and people are lining up for eggs, fish, and condoms is a huge problem because, think about it. This is one of the highest teen pregnancy rates in the world is in Venezuela. One of the highest AIDS rates is in Venezuela. I mean,
this is in South America.
In South America, right?
Not compared to Africa, that
right.
You have a really high number to beat. But yeah, it's a problem, much more serious than access to high-speed internet or cannabis. And I don't know how you need to do something about this problem. It's kind of like the vaccine issue in a sense. You need to do something about this problem to stop the spread of diseases, not only to Venezuela, but to other countries. And obviously there are tourists around there. And
don't they give out really cheap gas? I mean, you can fill your tank for next to nothing.
Well, we send thousands, we send millions of condoms to Africa. So I doubt it'll take very long.
Venezuelans should be putting some of that money anyway.
Well, I mean, it is. This is a country where abortion is illegal. There isn't a lot of discussion about preventing teen pregnancy. There isn't as much of an emphasis on it as there is here generally. But it really shows how a problem like declining oil prices can have such a widespread effect that and a spiraling effect if you don't get a handle on it.
People, waiting in line for hours for toilet paper, fist fights in the grocery stores over the last piece of chicken to feed your family. So, the condoms, this sticker number is interesting.
Is this going to actually affect Maduro and the presidency there? I mean,
it should.
It should, right? Or does he continue sort of this Chavez narrative of pointing the finger north at us and say it's our fault?
When there are people fighting over, the last can of soup,
yeah,
it's going to be hard.
Look, it's a country living in abject poverty, but you know what? So was Cuba, and they're still, under the Castro regime. So I think, countries can go a long time in horrible squalor. Look at North Korea. I mean, you can subject your people to some really horrible stuff. If you don't open up markets, if you don't open up, you're going to have these kind of problems anytime you have a walled-off communist, almost a dictatorship, which Maduro would claim it isn't, obviously.
Imports down 42% this year. Those are the Bank of America estimates. 42%.
They have no money.
They have no money.
You can't import anything if you can't buy it.
But their economy's not going to grow if people aren't healthy, and it's this vicious cycle of kind of spiraling downward.
So is this what happens if the government starts providing free broadband internet? And this was just a slippery slope to.
Do they have free broadband internet?
Oh boy.
I'm sure they probably don't in
honestly,
Venezuela. Nor do they in Cuba, right?
Right.
North Korea also doesn't. So.